All right, so I'm just testing the stream out to see, well, how this thing's working. And thus far, I only have one viewer. If anybody's interested, do you guys want to ask a question? Do you guys want to talk about anything? Any topics at hand that interests you? You know, feel free to step up and have. I'm not going to be streaming for long, just so you know. So you guys know, to whoever's watching, just to let you guys know. Okay, so thus far I only have one viewer. Let me see if I can get certain people in here. All right, so I got 2 viewers. Hello. If you guys want, you could do a roll call if you want. And also, welcome to the stream. Just make yourselves at home if you want to talk about anything. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me check the stream in the. Let me check and see if there's anybody. Oh shit. Oh. Okay then. So wait a minute. Okay. John, since I can see you in the chat, hello Amsterdam, hello Rage Grinder, hello Angry John. John, just so you know, I want to know, how do you do this thing with the chat? I'm trying to like, do I just have to go onto the chat itself, or? Um. Hold on. Anyway, I'm just gonna send out more of this link to different people. Again, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. It's like as it's called gonna be like a kind of like a Google Hangout sort of thing. And well, I'm gonna try to see if I can get more people in here and see if they want to like just hang out for a bit, ask any questions at all. Yeah, this is kind of new, isn't it? Oh, let me see if I can test this thing out. Close. I'm getting invited to a call. Just some people were adding me into a call. All right. So yeah, I'm just new to this live streaming thing. Oh, hey Jam. Sorry about that. I didn't recognize you. So anyway, yeah, just Okay, so just a question. Does anybody want to talk about anything new or different? Anybody want to talk about any different topics? Let me see if I can think of one. Oh, so yesterday I got myself two different versions of RPG Maker. RPG Maker 2003 and XP. XP I'm having issues with using because of the ratio issues. Because of the fact that it doesn't really work in certain ratios, which means I'm not able to use it. 2003 is different. Just using RPG all Maker altogether is just kind of interesting. I know that certain people have used RPG Maker to make certain games that have gotten rather popular, like Off, amongst other things. I mean, Off is like a really popular RPG Maker game. Same thing with Ebe, if you've played that game. A lot of freeware games. Oh, question. I know I've talked about this with Anger John in chat. Who here has played the game Off? Donald Trump's hair is a topic in itself. That's kind of funny. All right, so okay, so Off is a very interesting game. I played a little bit of it. It's pretty much, if you've played the Earthbound games, it's kind of like that a bit. It's a bit different, where it's like it's pretty much you and you're in this world where you're pretty much like trying to purify things. And by purify things, it's like specters and ghosts and these other creatures that appear in this world of like emptiness. And it's a very disturbingly dark game, but it's a really damn good one if I've ever seen one. I would recommend anyone who's into you. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to send the chat to certain people. All right. All right. But yeah, it's a pretty good game. I would recommend anyone who is a fan of the Earthbound games to play it. If you're that big into Earthbound. Off is pretty good, as I was trying to say, and of course, but that's now we'll talk about Undertale, but that wasn't made in RPG Maker. That was done in I think it was in what was the game called? No, Game Maker. Game Maker. Anyway, I'm just sorry for just being kind of quiet. And I think that's it for YouTube links. All right. Hey, Were Tiger, welcome to the stream. So let me see. Thus far, I only have about three watchers. Anyway, let's go into different topics. Since you're talking about games, yeah, I was gonna use XSplit because I prefer to use that, and I'm more comfortable with using that. But I don't know. All right. So I want to talk about another game, Street Fighter V. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole censorship controversy where, so they censored an ass getting slapped by, I think it was in one of the trailers, they showed an ass getting slapped and they changed the camera angle to make sure it's not shown for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. People are basically blaming the whole thing on social justice warriors in general. And I'm going to say this. Now, this is kind of old news. Wait, did I just say I'm not going to talk about it? No, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I kind of got ahead of myself. But no, what I wanted to talk about in terms of Street Fighter V is Street Fighter V's quality is good. I like the quality of the gameplay. It looks promising. And I'm hoping it doesn't really do what Street Fighter 4 did, which is pretty much have a small roster, and then we're going to get a very, very disappointingly small, amount of content, and then we're going to get different versions like they've been doing with Street Fighter 4. I mean, seriously, how many times do you have to dish out the same version of the same game over and over again? Like Ultra Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, the original Super Street Fighter 4, and it's just, from what I understand, they changed some of the. What they did with some of these costume, They took in models from what I was told from Tekken X Street Fighter X Tekken, and what they did was for Ultra Street Fighter 4, they just put in a bunch of the characters that were in Street Fighter Cross Tekken and just added them into Ultra Street Fighter 4, which I mean, honestly, if you were wanting to get Street Fighter 4, you might as well get the Ultra version because that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really no point in getting like yeah, like there's no point in getting like Street Fighter 4 and then getting all the other, crappier versions of it. That's good. That is good. The fact that you don't have to buy them, which is good because that shows that Capcom is hopefully losing their, learning their lesson. I do have a friend who is very skeptical about that though. And this is because from what I understand, back in the past, Street Fighter 4 is known to like uh basically go back on their promises, and that's a bad thing to do. See, I mean, when you're wanting to make a product and you want to basically you want to make sure that, it's how do I put this? You want to make sure it's, it's playable, it's something that's worth, buying. It's like I don't see the point of like, like making more than one version of the same game and thus adding more content that was in the original. You know what I mean? I mean, I like Super Street Fighter 4 because playing that at my university was fun. The music is pretty good. I personally, when it comes to Street Fighter games, I like Street Fighter 3, and this is kind of like a personal reason, but I enjoyed it because of the fact that like Street Fighter 3 had like this really smooth and crisp look to it. I like that about the old Street Fighter games that were all like 2D sprites, which were especially the third game. The third game, and this is kind of like interesting. Now, what I liked about the third game is that it had very fluid animation with its sprites, very smooth, very well animated. Oh, is that right? They got someone who works with them that is a prominent member of the competitive community. Tune with the community. Good, good. I mean, if they keep going the direction that they do, and what I would really like though is for them to have at least the same amount of characters that they've had in Ultra Street Fighter 4, but like again, like you said, making it all unlockable, kind of like the games of yesteryear. Because seriously, that was bullshit. Just like having to go through like different versions of games that were like again, it was just like pretty much the same version, and it was all on full price too. And it's like I don't know. Personally, considering I didn't even have Super Street Fighter 4 until I guess recently, I might as well could have just bought like the game on what was it like on PS3 the Ultra version, because honestly, because the only reason I would ever get the Ultra version to begin with is because oh yeah, the 10 versions honestly. And that's what I'm trying to say though, is that like it's not even in the 90s anymore. I mean, you didn't even that's the thing I'm trying to say, is that they didn't even need to make it like, for one, they didn't need to make it physical copies. Two, it's like if they were really wanted to make all these versions, why not just wait, work on it for a couple of years? Oh, it really? Huh. In that case, that's good. That's good. I mean, I liked the idea of having a full roster, but just come on. I mean, that itself was kind of like, I personally didn't like that. And I will agree with you on that though, where Tiger X having like so many different versions of Street Fighter 2 to the point of insanity was just insulting. Though from what I understand, didn't like some of those versions introduce like Akuma? Like that's where Akuma first was introduced. And then they basically gave us and I believe the more recent version, yeah, yeah. I do believe the more recent version of Street Fighter 2, the HD2 remix that was released on PS3 and 360, that was pretty much like the definitive version, wasn't it? Where they basically just retraced a lot of the sprites, made it look very clean and crisp. Honestly, that's somebody tweeted at me. I'm sorry, but yeah, that was pretty cool though. Just that's crazy. I will agree that that was a great version of Street Fighter 2. Like I like the quality of the game. Anyway, whoop, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Whoops. Let me see other topics to talk about. I'm gonna leave my microphone like this. I did like I okay. Oh really? They basically they released a beta. That's pretty. Again, I think Capcom is really learning their lesson this time. I hope they don't fuck up this this new game because honestly, from what I'm hearing, they're improving themselves. While of course Konami's kind of going downhill, and it's funny how that works out. Konami was at the top of their game as well, to an extent. And it was like when Capcom was going through all this shit where they just constantly released all these games that nobody cared about, or just kept on canceling Mega Man game after Mega Man game, and pretty much like slapping their name onto the different projects like the DuckTales thing, because that wasn't done by Wafer, not Capcom. Capcom pretty much published the game because they pretty much like produced the original. They're coming out with this new version of Street Fighter, which looks pretty badass, by the way. And holy shit, it's amazing. Oh yeah, Konami. You know, the company that was once good and once had a very well respected member of the game developing community. That being, unfortunately, Hideo Kojima. Hideo Kojima, like, I feel sorry for the guy. You know what I mean? And it's not just him. I feel sorry for those who are longtime fans of the Silent Hill fan base or franchise. That game looked like it was going to be pretty badass. People want to say that it's just like, and I'm going to give you my personal opinion. There were people that were saying that it's just going to be like another like series of jump scares, but no. I felt like that game, especially with the help of Guillermo del Toro and Kojima, they were able to make something really astounding. I mean, I was floored when I first watched that the gameplay footage of PT. PT had such an amazing concept and quality, and just the quality of it looked amazing too. And they had like the guy who played as Daryl Dixon from the Silent Hill The Walking Dead. Doesn't he have his own company? Like, I know he made his own company. He made Kojima Productions now. And from what I understand, Del Toro actually ended up, reuniting with Kojima again. Sorry. Let me see. What else do I want to talk about? But yeah, I mean, well, before I get to the next topic, it's another game, of course. But before I get to the next topic, I will say Kojima is now working with Del Toro, and if they're going to make something good, yeah, I hope they dish out something good. I liked some of the movies that Del Toro made. I liked the first Hellboy movie. That was a really good movie. Pacific Rim was good. Pan's Labyrinth was interesting. I like that. Like the concept of it was very well thought out and just well done. And Kojima, I liked some of the Metal Gear games. I mean, the idea of the stories that he tells and how he tells them is just astounding. Personally, I thought it was a pretty good game. The game series, honestly, for what it lasted. And from what I understand, even like didn't he work on a Castlevania game, Castlevania Lord of Shadows, which a lot of people tend to like. And then there's a second game that apparently the second game didn't really do very well. Oh, speaking of Capcom, because it just reminded me of something. Didn't they also make Strider that was on PlayStation 3, 4, Xbox One, and PS4? I remember that was actually a thing. It was a really good thing too. From what I understand, it was a very well-developed game. Actually, a really good game that was released during the era when Capcom was still kind of going through shit. And it's just appalling to know that they would Double Helix. Oh. Well, at least, with DuckTales and DuckTales and Strider, even though Capcom didn't really develop those games, at least Capcom kind of slapped their name onto something that they knew would actually be decent. Oh, really? Really? Huh. I didn't know that. The blueprints from older games. Like from the PlayStation 1 and SNES games? What else? But from what I understand, though, the game at least was decent at best. All right. I mean, at least again, Capcom kind of did help put their foot into the somewhat into the development of the game, at least, kind of showing that they're kind of getting back into the swing of things. Just so you know, my laptop's on my bed. I'm streaming through my laptop. My laptop is on my bed, and yeah. All right, that's cool. I gotta try out that new Sly Cooper game because apparently there's like a collection on an HD collection on the PS3. I have not played any of the Sly Cooper games, sadly. I wanted to, but I haven't had that chance. What else? Sorry again. I'm a little bit tired. Now, I mentioned Earthbound earlier in the stream. Now, I'm probably going to play them. In terms of Earthbound, there is this game I've been really looking forward to playing. It's a fan game of the Mother series called Mother 4. And the game has been in development for about, say, a good 5 years now. The game came out the game came out in development in 2009, I think, or 2008. I can't remember. It was basically this fan game done by a group of Mother fans that were just trying to like make something in terms of like a Mother-esque game. And from what I understand, they're trying to make it more like the Earthbound games, basically, where they have like side quests, and it's not divided into chapters like Mother 3 was. And okay, for those who have not played the Mother games, I would say give those games a try. They are well worth your money if you are into RPGs. Mother 1 was decent. I actually I didn't mind it as much. The second game was pretty decent as well, or actually pretty good. It's a pretty good game, actually. And one that I would consider one of my favorites as well. No, Mother 3 is what I consider one of my all-time favorites. And recently, the team behind Mother 4 have been trying to get this game completed. I remember they announced that they were going to get it released in 2014 on PC and Mac, and unfortunately, it didn't get completed. They were supposed to release it around 2014 winter, but they delayed it to like January or something like that, or February. But then it got delayed again until the summer, around June, and now they delayed it till like I don't even know when. It's like they've been working on that game for 5 years now. Almost 6, I think. I'm hoping they get that game done soon because I want to try it out. If you looked at earlier images, because there's some images that existed from like 2009 on earlier on, the sprites looked very Mother 3 like until they ended up changing it and made it look a little bit more original. But holy shit, man! They were going through a lot of revamps. You can look it up on YouTube. There's some old videos of Mother 4, some of the old jingles that they had. They've already released music on SoundCloud. some of it sounds absolutely fantastic. Just exactly, exactly where Tiger. I mean, keep in mind, this is also the fact. Let's not also forget that this is the fact that they're dealing with the Nintendo property. Um, I don't know if you guys have heard about this. Um, Apparently, there was a Star Fox animated series that was done independently by one guy, and recently that got canceled, or Nintendo went after him, so he had to rename his series and had to find a way to work around the series and characters to pretty much not get Nintendo to have Nintendo not get on his back. Though people were saying that he was getting, funded by Patreon, which it depends on how you look at it. Some people will say that Patreon is not like the best way to like fund a project because that could be seen as making profits off your own off of someone else's property, which makes some sense. Though of course he was probably trying to get money for hiring up the budget a bit and trying to improve things. Because he's working on that. He was working at it, making it sound very high quality. He has a very high quality mic, much better than my Blue Yeti, mind you. Oh, no kidding! I heard about that. See, this is why people tend to say that Nintendo's way behind in the times, because they are. Seriously, when you have a company that's so stingy about not wanting to have certain games be played in certain tournaments like Evo. Yeah, exactly. See, Evo itself is sort of an evil in its own right, or it's sort of a. I want to say that Evo is kind of the cause of certain controversies, and of course, I don't know who in here is a brony and who isn't, but of course, I'm gonna name the elephant in the room, the big one. Fighting is magic. For those who don't know what happened with that, basically, Fighting is Magic was a fighting game that was being developed by another group of indie game developers. See, this is some of the sad. This is the thing that you have to worry about when it comes to trying to make a fan game or a fan project. Is be careful that the property or project that you're basically trying to make a fan project out of doesn't belong to some company that's going to shut you down immediately. Because certain game companies like Nintendo, Square Enix, and Konami, and a few other projects. Oh, yeah, copyright is magic. Yeah. Hasbro is known for basically, having lawyers that are crazy. That are crazy, with their power pretty much. The lawyers like to cease and desist any project. Let's not let's not forget the Princess Molestia incident where this guy's fan comic ended up getting cease and desisted because some crybaby was trying to make it sound like it was so sexual. They're trying to protect the whole internet from sexual properties and project. She was basically trying to say, "Oh, it's promoting rape jokes," but then she backpedaled and said, "Oh, it's promoting sexual content featuring the My Little Pony characters," even though she drew some very racy art, mind you. She's a hypocrite in her own right, honestly. That's another drama on its own. The button mashes incident where Jan Animations was trying to make a fan series, where he wasn't even getting any money out of that project. And then that shit happened. I feel bad for the developers too. They put so much work and effort into that game, but it's not all dark days for them, because at least Lauren Faust heard about the incident, stepped in, and developed some characters for that game. She actually, designed some of the characters that are in that game. Now they're making a game called Them's Fighting Herds, which that game itself is, it looks different. I mean, it's obvious that they're basically the same characters as the main 6. They're probably going to have to make more characters too, obviously. But it's very apparent that, of course, they're pretty much the main 6, but as different animal species. Just so that way they don't, get like their asses handed to them by Hasbro again, which, I hope it never happens again. Hasbro really is like one of those companies that's very, I think it's the trademark policy, because their trademark policies are very fucked, if anything. Let's not forget that they didn't do this with MLP, mind you. They did this with G.I. Joe and Adult Swim, where Adult Swim took old clips of the G.I. Joe cartoon and dubbed over them, and then Hasbro basically flew in over them like a bunch of what do they call those animals? Vultures, and started pecking at them, saying, we're not going to let you use this property. You go ahead and you're not going to basically make any parodies of our work or whatnot. It's just Hasbro, how they work, honestly. This isn't the first time that, again, like I said, Hasbro. And that, going back to that Hasbro thing with Jan Animations. Jan Animations was trying so hard to, for a year, mind you, for a year and a half, to try to get back to different lawyers to see if they could be able to if they would let him at least upload his series, and they basically used him like a game pretty much, which that sucks, honestly. It's as a guy who likes to basically create art, I feel sorry for him. And it's also kind of shitty too that a fan of a certain series is being mistreated by lawyers that belong to the company that makes that series, But going back to Earthbound or Mother 4, Mother 4 looks great. I hope it's, comes out. I hope it doesn't, get canceled or suffer any delays like that Ura Zelda project that also was in development until some issues with the programmer or the lead developer had occurred, apparently, because he was being a bit incompetent with his actions. What else is there to talk about? I'm working on a couple of animations. I don't know if I'm going to get them done anytime soon. I've had this channel for over 10 years almost. For about 10 years. But yeah. I've had this channel for about 9 years, and it's like I've been promising animation left and right. I mean, I've made some animations and uploaded them to YouTube, but it's like, I don't know. I'm very lazy. I've always been kind of lazy with the projects in general, personal projects. I'm always stuck, watching videos on YouTube rather than just doing something productive. So I'm hoping to get this animation done by next week or whenever I have enough time. Because I want to try to get a lot of this stuff done, and I want to make sure it's completed by the time I want it to be completed. I'm hoping, at least. It's not just animation, it's also scheduling. My schedule is really screwed. I have to do certain projects for certain classes. It's my last year of college, my last semester, and I'm hoping to God that I can at least try and be able to like get certain projects for YouTube done, but also get like certain classes and pass certain classes and whatnot in the process. I want to at least start off indie, because for the longest of time I've wanted to do animation. I was kind of lazy, which that's a really do not be lazy. One, because I've always found it difficult. I always gave myself excuses. I said I didn't have a tablet, and then I got myself a tablet, but I still didn't use Flash properly. I would say I would do it after school. Well, when I'm done with school completely, I'm done with school completely, and I still didn't make it much animation, and I didn't make anything in ever since I started college. I've had a difficulty trying to make a project, and it's like I've done small, minor animations. Oh yeah, that's also the thing too. Is that I want to try to do some part-time jobs and whatnot for different things because it's like part-time jobs are just like. See, the thing is, I don't have enough money from I don't get enough money from the government. I get 200 KD because I pretty much am a student, and in Kuwait they give students that are for universities about 200 KD. I don't think that's enough for myself. I would rather I get more money from getting a job because that way, one, I get job experience. Two, I'm able to be able to. I'm able to at least get more money for at least being able to support myself. I mean, I live with my dad and my brother, but I want to try to at least gather some money so in the future, if I do want to leave the house and live on my own, I want to at least try to at least get some money for that, basically. Of course, again, yeah, I know, I understand. I heard about that. U.S. is like a really hard place to live, honestly. It's not easy to play in to live in the U.S., especially with taxes. You have to pay taxes. They make you as well as having to pay like a bunch of stuff. Hmm. Let me see. Yeah. I mean, if I don't want to live in the U.S., I might as well live in Europe, possibly. If not Europe, probably. I was told Australia was easier to live in. I don't know. Not easier to live in. Sorry, but it's easier to get a job and where I wanted to do animation. I don't know. Of course, I want to. But first, if I want to do any of that, I just need to improve my art style quite a bit, which I've been trying to. I've been trying to at least improve my anatomy here and there. Been trying to at least get the art to not look like garbage. You know what I mean? Trust me, when I was in high school, I was so used to getting praise that I didn't even bother looking at real people. My mom even advised that, but I didn't understand what she meant by that. Now I kind of got a better understanding of that. Um, Actually, with Japan, um, here's the thing: Japan itself is kind of hard to live in as well. It's not easy. I would like to go to Japan and work in the animation industry, but it's like animators are very underpaid. There's some gaijin animators that actually worked in Japan themselves in certain anime, and it's like, oh my god, just the fact that they have, like, I don't know, just like the apparently like a lot of animators don't get a lot of respect in Japan, from what I understand. It's like the budget for animation is terrible. I mean, not terrible, but like they don't have high enough budgets to work in certain shows or whatnot. And if it's like a weekly show, they're forced to like pretty much get the episode done like pretty quickly. I mean, you look at Dragon Ball Super, the animation in that series is horrible because of the fact that they had to like then again, it depends on the studio, because some studios they actually have certain sorry, they have some studios that do better animation than others. Of course, there's TMS animation studios amongst TMS. There's Studio 4 Degrees C or Gainax. Yeah, Madhouse and Ufotable. Ufotable. I don't know about Ufotable, but I know Madhouse Studios has really, really fucking great animation. Okay, yeah, Toei as well. That's what I was trying to say. Toei animation is horrible. They're known, and that's the thing too. I used to think that Toei animation was good at animating, because the thing is that I used to like look. I watched a lot of the cartoons that they worked on. A lot of the things that they worked on were like some of my favorite shows, like Dragon Ball Z and Digimon, like One Piece. And I see the animation for those shows; they look amazing. But then it's like, why? Sometimes I kind of wish that they at least got better, that they gave the rights to Dragon Ball Z and One Piece to a better animation studio. $60 frames per second animation. That's, I gotta watch it now. I think I have that. I think I have that anime somewhere. May have downloaded it someplace or whatnot. Because I gotta check that shit out because it's amazing. I've heard some really good things about Fate Night Zero or Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night. Even Soul Eater. I see the animation in Soul Eater. That's pretty amazing. Question though, who did the animation for Naruto? Wasn't it Studio Pierrot that did the animation for Naruto? Because the thing with Naruto is that this is something that's interesting too. I've actually talked to some people that say that Naruto has some decent ass animation. What it does in some at least in some scenes, at least it does have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bleach and Naruto, and I feel so bad for those shows because they're very highly well known series. You know, this is what pisses me off too. Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. They're very well known shows, especially Dragon Ball Z. You know, I'm pissed off with Dragon Ball Super, at least with its animation quality. Now, I don't know too much about the story because I've only watched two episodes. That's it. People have complained about how Dragon Ball Super was kind of ruined in at least Dragon Ball Super was ruined thanks to like the storytelling. I don't know too much about that. But Dragon Ball Z is like a series that's really well renowned. You look at the movies that they made, Dragon Ball Z, Battle of Gods, and Return of F, Resurrection F. Really? From what I was told, they changed the story of two of the two movies, edited, kind of changed them around a bit for whatever reason. That's disappointing. And I was kind of confused too because when I first watched the first two episodes of Dragon Ball Super, I was like, really? With Beerus? I mean, I thought it was going to take place after the Beerus movies, but just why? Wait a minute. Who's doing the story for Dragon Ball Super? Wait, really? I actually like the stories for both Dragon Ball Super and no, but not Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. I don't know. I felt like Resurrection F was a really decent, I thought it was a good movie. Honestly, just having all these fighters that you barely see do any fighting, like Tien, Master Roshi, Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo, at least giving them times to shine. I don't know. I didn't really mind it as much. In Battle of Gods, I felt like it didn't really just focus on just like fighting all of the time. I felt like they were trying to like develop these characters, which I think if you're a fan of like Dragon Ball Z and you've known these characters for most of your life, I don't know, man. Because I remember watching that movie in theaters and I was floored by how amazing it was. Let me go get a pencil and pen, a paper and pen, and write down those animation studios that you mentioned. I mean, I personally liked. I mean, again, I liked Resurrection F. I thought it was a pretty badass movie, honestly. Funny thing, I dragged my sister along with me to go watch that movie. I mean, I wouldn't mind working in some animation studios in Europe because European animation is absolutely amazing. I love me some European animated movies, honestly. Um, but yeah. I mean, I might. I don't know. It depends on how my working experience in Japan is, honestly. Um, what else? Speaking of Japanese animation, there's some animators that I honestly enjoyed. Whose style I like enjoyed looking at. I like the work of Hiroyuki Imaishi, who. I mean, I wrote them all down anyway. But yeah, I like Hiroyuki Imaishi. I like what's his name? Masaki Yuasa. I like him a lot. I like Masaki Yuasa's animation style. Uh, Koike, Takashi Koike. I think that was his name. And that's like a few examples of of animators I can think of at the moment. We don't have Netflix in Kuwait. Um, I'm using my mom's Hulu. Does Hulu count? What was Hunter x Hunter animated at? All right. Shogeki no Shoma. I might actually watch that one. Oh yeah, Fairy Tale. People tell me not to watch that one. I think because of the fact that it has to do with like. Oh, oh, you're Strider, aren't you? Uh, Zero Strider. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just realized that you were Strider because I just looked at your YouTube channel just now. Yeah. From what I understand, people just tell me that it's pretty much like fan service. I do. I would like to work at a 4 degrees C. But yeah, I just realized that you were Strider. I just looked at your YouTube channel. I was like, oh yeah, you're Strider. And the thing is, people tend to have a different name for themselves on YouTube as opposed to what they have on Facebook. So it's like, it's hard for me to recognize anyone. But yeah, what else? I'm trying to think. I see. Um, yeah. You know, funny thing, there was um there was a guy who I knew that went by the name Zero Strider. And Zero Strider was like this. So apparently, there was another guy called Zero Strider, and the funny thing about that was that like oh my god, what was it that I just thought was so funny? It, I think it had to do with the fact that that there was this guy I knew known as Rockaway. He was some guy that me and Mulder. I'm sure you remember who Mulder was. Me and Mulder know who this guy is. He was like a part of his furry group that just let's just say that this furry group was known for causing bullshit or just having really shitty people within their group. And Rockaway hung out with this guy called Strider Zeros, and Mulder made a joke saying that that was like, hold on, what was the guy's name? Rockaway Carter. Yeah, Strider Zeros 96. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just pretty funny. Sorry, I kind of got distracted there for a bit. How long ago was it? Oh, he made this video 4 years ago. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny that I knew that you were named Strider Zero, and I know another guy known as Strider Zero, 96. Just, it's funny. Oh yeah, there's also rumors that there's going to be a new Crash Bandicoot game. Yeah, you probably did. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot is, from what I understand, it was teased to have like a new comeback. Or at least have a comeback in itself, at least. All right. You know, for now, I'll probably just stop the stream for right now. But I'll But anyway, I'll see y'all later.